Well, I am honored to be here with you today, and thank you to all of the organizers for inviting the Texas Center for Local Food to present today. So I am here to share with farmers, ranchers, those who support us, and farmers market organizers today to talk about ways that we can boost our income in direct marketing. So we're going to talk about growing demand for local and regionally grown food. And I'm going to share with you some information and resources that you can use to sharpen your marketing strategies and tactics, and then some other ways to help. So I'm Sue Beckwith. As Colin said, I live in Elgin, Texas, about 25 miles east of Austin. I have been an organic farmer of chickens and eggs along with my family. I was honored to be the startup general manager of Coyote Creek Organic Feed Mill here in Elgin and the egg company World's Best Eggs, which I believe is one of the largest, if not the largest, pasture-raised certified organic laying hens in the state of Texas. So I'm not a farmer anymore. I learned pretty quickly how hard it is to be a small volume farmer. It's really much harder than it has to be. And so a part of our work is to make a bunch of that work easier. I faced similar challenges to farming before in my career. Before I began raising chickens, I ran programs for the city of Austin, helped start an organization called Austin Freenet that provided the original, speaking of technology, the original public internet access in the Austin public libraries back in the mid-90s. And, at that time we were working with a whole lot of families that were living on lower incomes who didn't have computers at home. And back then home internet access was over $100 a month. So a lot of people didn't have access at home. And a lot of the approaches to expanding access and so forth didn't really support the dignity of the people who needed this access. There were some arguments based on pity and, people who were less fortunate and so forth. But the reality is that people didn't need a handout or pity. What they needed was access to the same opportunities as everyone else. At that time, it began to be the case where you had to be on the internet in order to apply for a job anywhere. And so a whole bunch of people suddenly were not able to apply for jobs. So I've been working in food since 2006, and it's really not so different for farmers, right? I mean, small and medium scale farmers, local and regional farmers don't need pity and don't need, sort of these sorrowful narratives. My favorite quote from a farmer, Aaron at Greengate Farms in Austin, is, "Don't pity me, just buy my food. Just buy my damn food, and let's just do that. So let's increase the economic value for me to invest my time and money in being a farmer, and give me a level playing field so that I can compete." So back in 2016. A group of farmers here in Central Texas and I got together and decided to create a nonprofit that would focus on the economics of farming in Texas, sustainable and organic farming economics. So we do a lot of work to develop markets and help with some of the things I'm going to talk with you about today, so that we can help you get people to buy your food, whether that's restaurants or the Common Market Food Hub or another food hub or schools or CSAs and other ways. So just to give you a sense of who we are, who the Texas Center for Local Food is, the Texas Organic Farmers and Gardeners Association, the SARA program, and others help farmers be better farmers, help with the production side. Farm and Ranch Freedom Alliance works on the policy side. But there wasn't anybody working on that market piece, helping to make sure that food and money changes hands in our state. So that's what we do. So that's what this slide is about. We help Texas farmers make more money. We are doing that by providing online education through a brand new platform I'll tell you about today called Textfed.org. We've collaborated statewide since our inception, really, on the various farmer disaster relief efforts that we've had. And we are now helping to prepare for the next one because it'll happen, hopefully later rather than sooner. But that's one thing we know for certain. And we also work to boost the Texas local food system so that all Texans have access to healthy local food, not just a few. So when we think about growing demand, right, we have growing demand for locally grown food. And especially during the pandemic, the demand really surged. As many of you know, many farmers markets quickly sold out of their product as quickly as they could harvest it, starting about March 12th or 13th in 2020. And farmers I knew were trying to even plant more so that they would be ready in June, but they were apprehensive, is the demand going to hold? Similarly now, how much should I plant this spring? Is the demand going to hold through the end of the spring season, or is it going to drop back off? What we saw in the data pre-pandemic was that farmers market sales were really pretty flat, and CSA sales were actually decreasing a little bit, certainly nationally. So what the pandemic has meant is more money in Texas farmers' pockets. And again, the question then is, how do we work together to build the infrastructure, the economic infrastructure that we need in Texas to hold on to that demand? Even if we hold on to just half of that demand, we're still going to be in a far better economic position than we were pre-pandemic. So textfed.org. I can't see you, so if I were in person, I would say, raise your hands if you've heard of textfed.org. txfed.org is available to you right now. It is an online peer-to-peer learning system. Some of you on this call today have been a part of developing these courses. We work with collaborators across the state to develop courses on textfed.org. In the Valley, we're working with Terra Preta Farm. Juan is here, and Shakira. And we're working with I always get the name wrong, Colin, the long name. I just call it the Cooperative Service at UTRGV.
Yes,
and
the
a host
Texas
of
Rural
other,
Cooperative Center.
The
Texas
Rural
Cooperative Center.
The Rural Cooperative Center. All right, I'll get it right. So these courses are available right now. How social media can promote your farmers market, optimizing your impact of your farmers market booth. That one's about how do you set up a booth? What does your signage need to look like? What's a good way to stack vegetables? How do you make sure that customers can move in and out your booth while someone's paying you, right? Have you ever been in a line? I've been in a line at Lowe's recently where it seems like they don't want to take my money. There's plenty of workers out in the aisles, but no one's at the cash register. So making sure that your cash register is available to get people giving you money as quickly as you can. And making money at the farmers market touches on some of those same topics and also has strategies around pricing, how to price your products, how to track what's selling well and what's not selling so well, and how to adjust pricing even on the fly during a market day. Selling at a farmer's market for beginners was our very first course. And so it's just what it says. How to sell at a farmer's market for beginners. Should I even sell at a farmer's market? Is that the sales outlet that's really going to work best for me, for my farm? Do I have the time? Do I like people well enough to answer the same question 100 times in 3 hours? So a lot of those decisions about whether to sell at a farmer's market, you'll learn in the Selling at a Farmer's Market for Beginners 101. Also, how to choose which farmer's market to sell at. So for example, if you're new and just starting out and you're rural, you may want to start at a small rural market. You may not have a lot of sales, but you will get the hang of how to sell at a farmer's market and decide whether that's the best sales outlet for your farm. And one of our newest courses that's very popular is using Instagram to promote your farmer's market. And that's just what it says. It's a course just on Instagram. Now, I will tell you, if you can see the screen, it says $10, and they're all going to say that pretty soon. But you can always type in the code Texas, TEXAS. From now till the end of 2022, all of our courses are free for residents of Texas. So that's textfed.org. We're very, very proud of it. It's funded by the USDA Agricultural Marketing Service. Another one of our partners is Texas A&M AgriLife Extension. We're honored to have Texas AgriLife A&M Extension as a part of this project. They are among the many collaborators that certify each of our courses before they're launched to the public to make sure that they are complete, that they are correct, and that they are current. So we have a great deal of work that goes into each of these. Many of you probably, and if you haven't already, I'm sure at some point you're going to be asked to be in one of the videos that are in one of the courses. We've worked very hard to make sure that everyone you see in these videos that are in each of these courses are your peers. They're from Texas, they're working in Texas, and they're selling in Texas. So this is a peer-to-peer learning system, and it's developed peer-to-peer. So I encourage you to jump on textfed.org. And well, here, I should be turning the slide, shouldn't I? So the other thing to say about TextFed is it is a completely flexible platform. You know, I've been a farmer. Many of the people working on the project have been farmers. We know that you don't have the time to sit down at 3 o'clock in the afternoon on a Friday to take a class. Each of the classes is about 45 minutes long, and you can take them whenever you want to. They're available 24 hours a day on a secure website, and you can take it on your phone, on a tablet, or on a PC or a Mac, so you can take it on your computer. In our first year, we had 200 folks enrolled from around the state. So that's really exciting. Again, textfed.org right now is available to you, and it's for farmers, ranchers, farmers market organizers. Later this year, we're going to be releasing some classes for consumers. My second favorite farmer quote ever is, you know, I said to a farmer, what can we do? What can we do to help you sell more product? And she said, bring me an educated consumer. Please bring what I would give for an educated consumer. So I know a lot about eggs because I was an egg farmer and helped start World's Best Eggs. So I think our first online consumer course will be about eggs. And those are going to be $10 a piece. And there's not going to probably be a coupon for that, because we're trying to figure out how do we keep this service going for all of you after the grant period ends early in 2023. So that's one of our current challenges for this year is how do we get that revenue stream started? And when you take a course, at the end of the course, there's a question in the evaluation. How much would you be willing to pay for this? Would you be willing to pay $5, $10, $20? So our interest is in having TextFed be available to everyone. So we have to balance that with the need for a revenue stream to help textfed.org be sustainable for all of us across our state. One of our brand new project is to help farmers markets across all of Texas set up to accept the Lone Star card, SNAP benefits, and to help those farmers markets that already accept SNAP benefits to increase the sales of Texas grown fruits and vegetables for SNAP shoppers at farmers markets across the state. It's a very ambitious program. We're extremely excited about it, hoping to partner with the Texas-Mexico Border Coalition and hire a new staff person who will be working in the Valley. We have a partner in Grow North, Texas, and we have another staff person who will be handling the farmers markets in Central Texas and in Houston. I just want to say about SNAP that in 2020, well, first let me say, as farmers selling at farmers markets, we're leaving a lot of money on the table. In 2020, the state of Texas gave out $4 billion in SNAP benefits throughout the entire year. And guess how much of that was spent at farmers markets in our state? $188,000. That's it. So there's a lot of benefit that farmers can get, direct economic benefit for their farmers market to begin accepting SNAP and to do the things that they need to do, promotion, recruitment, to help their farmers market be more attractive and welcoming to SNAP shoppers. In addition to the obvious benefit of serving our communities and making sure that everyone in Texas has access to our food, our good, healthy, locally grown food. So this is a brand new project. We're really just ramping up. It's very exciting. for those of you who are in touch with farmers markets who do not currently accept SNAP and are interested in accepting it, there is grant funding available through the state. It's very limited. So contact us right away if you want to set up SNAP. The equipment can cost $1,100, $1,200, and there's monthly fees. And there's room, I think, for about 13 or 14 farmers markets to go ahead and get access to that funding pool that's out there now. And our staff can help direct you to it and walk through the process with you. So we're very excited about helping farmers markets accept the Lone Star card. And we're not naive about it either. We are completely aware that many farmers markets across our state, to be very candid, have not been at all welcoming to people who use SNAP to shop. So one of the trainings that we are starting to create now, and we're doing it on Textfed.org, is a training for farmers markets and farmer vendors to give y'all tips and ideas on how you can be more welcoming to SNAP shoppers. One example is signage. Having your prices on a sign at your farmer's market booth is so helpful for folks when we don't have enough money. We don't, at least for me, I don't want to go up and ask you the price if I'm pretty sure I'm not going to be able to afford it. So having that signage is really helpful for folks. So that's some of the education we're going to do with farmers markets to make sure that people's dignity is respected for everybody who shops at that farmer's market. The last way to increase your sales is to stay in touch with each other. In Central Texas, there's been a Google group called GROAC, Growers Alliance of Central Texas. It's existed for many years. What we've done at the Texas Center for Local Food is create peer-to-peer statewide networks so that farmers across the state can begin to talk with one another. So it's just getting started. There's going to be a critical mass, right? If there's only 5 people on it, it's not going to be very useful to anybody. But, let's say I have a BCS tiller that I lost the cotter pin to and it broke and supply chain and I can't get another one. Well, maybe there's another farmer in the state who's dealt with that issue and can suggest a part that I could use until I can get the actual part that I need. In regions in particular, I've seen around the country and a little bit here in Texas, groups of farmers who meet each other through a Google group begin to place seed orders together, or orders for frost cloth or potatoes, things that have to come from far away where freight is really expensive. If we can go together and get a pallet of something, it's going to be a lot cheaper per farmer. So those are some of the kinds of things that we can do by talking to one another, sharing challenges on our farms and learning from one another. So we have, I don't know if you can see it, but if you go to texaslocalfood.org/community and just put in your information and check which networks you would like to join, we're here for you. Katie Lavalley is our education coordinator, and she will maybe ask you questions before she adds you to the list. Some of you have been on other lists, and sometimes salespeople want to sell you things and they want to get on your farm list. And so we're trying to be pretty good about vetting who gets to be on the list. So Farm TX is for farmers and ranchers only. And the Texas Network of Farmers Markets is for farmers market managers and staff only. And then for everybody else, we have a general list called Texas Local Food that's all about talking about our Texas food system. So that's one way. Another way is to participate in these statewide networking groups and help begin to get them started. Understanding that it may take a few months for enough people to be on these lists for you to get some useful information from them. So there's 3 ways that we can help you make money. The Lone Star card, getting your share of those SNAP dollars. The Farm TX Texas Farmers Networking Group, and Textfed.org. So there's a slide with my contact information. We really hope that you'll connect with us. I put my personal email there. It's sueb@texaslocalfood.org. You can reach all of Katie at our staff person at askme@texaslocalfood.org. And of course, on our website, texaslocalfood.org. And across social media, our handle is the same, Texas Local Food, on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Great. Well, thank you so much. And I'm ready to answer questions whenever y'all are.
Thank you so much, Sue. It's good to see you again, and thank you for being part of this conference.
It's great to see you too, Juan. Thank you.
Yes, we are ready with some questions here. First questions, has recent events like the nation's health crisis changed the way small farmers get their products sold?
Can you say it again? I had to turn my volume up, Juan.
Yes, has recent events like the nation's health crisis changed the way small farmers get their products sold?
Most definitely it has. Absolutely. Direct market farmers who sell at farmers markets and were selling at farmers markets at the beginning of the pandemic did great on that for that sales outlet. Their net income may not have also gone up because a lot of folks who had on-farm education activities, farm tours, and other kinds of on-farm activities, that revenue went to zero in a week, the middle of March 20. Any restaurant sales went to zero. School sales, institutional sales went to zero. CSAs, every year I get pleas from farmers, can you help me get more folks into our CSA? CSAs had waiting lists of hundreds. So yes, direct marketing sales went up high and fast, and institutional sales, wholesale sales went to the floor fast.
Yeah. Did you guys notice any trends on farmers moving to start doing home deliveries?
Yes, and some farmers that I know have now started doing online orders only and home deliveries only.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you have to run the numbers because it can be expensive to sell at a farmer's market because of the time it takes and the schlepping back and forth. And you don't know if you're going to sell everything. There's some real advantages to home delivery because everything is pre-sold.
Right.
You know, the risk, of course, is what's going to happen to fuel prices. And the most successful online farmers I've seen have confined their delivery areas. You know, so they don't say we're going to sell to this whole big giant area. They say we're only going to deliver to these zip codes. Mm-hmm. And that's how they control their costs.
Yeah.
I've also seen a lot of farmers that weren't doing CSAs before start to look at doing CSAs. And I personally think that demand will probably hold after.
Yeah, that's true. Thank you, Sue. Next question reads, how can farmers spend time educating consumers when the margins are slim and time is so precious?
That's a great question. It's a great question. And there's not really an easy answer to it. I would say if whoever asked that question, get in touch with us and help us develop the courses for consumers on textfed.org. We need to know from farmers, what do you want your consumers to know? We want to use textfed.org to send you an educated consumer. So what is it you want them to be educated about? Do you want them to know the difference in kale and chard? Do you want them to know why they can't get tomatoes in August? What is it you want them to know? And work with Katie and me and others to develop those courses so we get you consumers who are educated about the things you want them to be educated about. That's a great question.
Well, thank you. Next question says, how can farmers offer the double buck program and take SNAP cards? Does your organization help a farmer with this?
We're currently funded to help farmers markets accept SNAP cards. And that is So we aren't able to help farmers directly with a farm stand, but I would say still get in touch with us because we're learning a lot about that entire process. And I'm a bit of an idealist, and some of you know this about me. If there's a need among farmers to find ways to make more money, we want to know about it. And then we will do everything we can to go out and find the funding that we need in order to help you make it happen. As most of you know, in order to accept double up food bucks, you first have to be set up to accept SNAP. So that's what we're focusing in this first year, is that base level. Let's get everybody accepting SNAP. There are organizations in the state that will help you develop a double up food bucks program.
Okay.
It'll layer on top of SNAP, as will WIC and some of the other financial incentive programs.
All right, great. Another question here, Sue says, direct beef sales to consumers can be difficult by buying a whole side of beef because of storage and price. Are smaller cuts for delivery? You want me to read it again?
No, let me see if I think I understand it. So the question is it better for the rancher to sell a half an
Smaller.
animal or to do cuts and do it by delivery?
Right.
You have to just really look at what your capacity is on your own farm. Do you have the capacity for direct sales? Because it's a lot of work and it's a lot of communication with customers. If you have a small herd and you only slaughter maybe a couple, 3, 4 animals a year, and you have a market where you can sell them as half, sell half a cow, then that, run the numbers on that. Obviously, it's going to be less per pound, but maybe not. Run the numbers and see, can you charge $6, $7 a pound for a half an animal? And of course, under the way I understand Texas current regulations, you have to sell the animal live, and then you take the animal to the slaughterhouse and the customer owns it at that point. And so if they want cuts, then they pay the slaughterhouse to make their cuts for them. It can look appealing to do cuts and sell them directly, and it may be. And you just have to really look at the market. So you're going to sell a fillet or a brisket for a much more per pound than you're going to sell a pound of ground beef. So a pound of ground beef might be $8 to $10 a pound. But you still have to take those customers' money. You've got to set up an online system to do it. That costs $75 or so a month. You've got to get it to them. You have to deal with customer calls, emails, possibly complaints, questions. So there's pluses and minuses to which of those strategies for selling is best for your ranch. And you'll need to figure that out. I will say that the Farm and Ranch Freedom Alliance, operating by Judith McGeary, just got funding to do an education series to help ranchers across the state learn about marketing their, I believe it's grass-fed beef directly. So again, get in touch with us at askme@texaslocalfood.org, and we'll put you in touch with folks who know that. I mean, Colin kind of acted like I know a lot of things, but the truth is I know a little bit about a lot of things, and I know who knows the answers in many cases. So our job is to share with you what we know and refer you to folks who know better than we do. Yeah, that's a great question.
Okay, they thank you here for that answer. All right, another one, based on your experience, is Instagram a better marketing tool than Facebook?
It depends on the audience that you want to reach. Younger people, Katie, please, I don't know if you can talk, but can chime in a little bit. That's one in the course that you saw in Textfed.org, the using social media. That's one of the questions that course answers. And let me just show you real quickly. Oops. Can you see this? So how social media can promote your farmers market here is a very good overview course. We're about to release how to use social media to help promote your farm. But a lot of the basic principles of selecting a platform are included in this course. And again, it's a 30, 45-minute course. So there's a lot of factors to consider when you choose a platform. And, coming back to the same recurring theme, what is your capacity? Do you have the capacity to manage both Facebook and Instagram? It's a great question, because I infer from the question that the questioner understands you may have to choose, because you can't do both. And one of the important things I think to think about with using Instagram is there's not easy opportunities to provide live links. So if you have an online sales platform, you sure want people to click here to buy. So that's another factor to think about. You can do that on Facebook, and you can do it on Instagram. It's just not as built into the platform, clicking on a live link.
Yeah, I don't know if Katie's contact is here on the chat, but we will include it here, because I think she also can provide a lot of good info on this subject, right? Like on there she is. Maybe you can elaborate if you want, Katie, on Instagram, Facebook, social media. You're from a younger generation than we are.
Thanks, Juan. I just wanted to make note, of course, it depends on, what works for you too. So it's self-exploration that needs to be done. But thankfully, Instagram and Facebook can seamlessly be posted on both platforms. And so they merge quite well. So I know it's challenging. Social media seems daunting and time consuming. But if you were to choose those two would be probably the best bet, because if you post on Instagram, you can link it to your Facebook page, and then Facebook has a business suite where you can link it to your social media. And so that is a really helpful tool. I would recommend, if you are looking at starting social media platforms, do get the business accounts and make sure that you have the resource of analyzing those demographics to understand your audience, because we can make a sweeping claim that's pretty well known. Facebook is older demographics, Instagram tends younger demographics, but that could differ depending on your audience too. So I think it's important always to just understand it from your own perspective and put it into practice yourself too. But yes, we'd be happy to help out with that. And we do have some courses that are published, and we're currently developing as well on Textfed.org. So I hope that would be helpful for you all too.
All right, thank you,
Katie.
Katie.
And thank you, Marianella, for putting in that. Yes, you can link using a thing called a tree link in Instagram.
Yeah, and we have some other questions, but I think you guys pretty much answered them. So I'm not gonna make them, but I'm gonna turn the time to Aish to Colin, and we thank you for being part of this conference once again.
Well, thank you again. We're honored to be here.